Meghan and Harry, y'all owe me a serious chunk of change, that loan for your Montecito mansion. If it ain't paid back in 30 days, I'll have no choice but to take this to court.
Harry and Meghan, you both owe me a substantial amount of money. That loan for your mansion in Montecito, I will be forced to take this to court if it isn't repaid within 30 days. It began with a steady, determined voice cutting through the morning airwaves. It's a kind that draws attention without turning up the volume. In 2025, Tyler Perry, a powerful filmmaker whose story of poverty and success inspired millions, didn't hold back on his radio program. It's that crisp December day. Harry and Meghan, you all owe me a significant amount of money. That's financing for your mansion in Montecito. I will be forced to take this to court if it isn't repaid within 30 days. The pristine facade of Sussex's California Idol was shattered by the weighty words that reverberated throughout social media and tabloid headlines. For years, the public had only seen the surface of their opulent estate, which represented their escape from royal restrictions and served as a symbol of their self-made prosperity through charity endeavors and media deals. However, a different reality simmered beneath the sun-drenched facades and Instagram-perfect photos. One of mounting debt, strained relationships, and a friendship on the verge of collapse. Perry wasn't just ranting when he made his statement. It was a planned escalation. That resulted from months of pleasurable frustration that went unanswered. Hollywood sources whispered that Perry's first kindness was the source of the loan. It's developed from short-term accommodation to a significant financial lifeline throughout the couple's turbulent transition. Snort's Iberic queries poured in as the statement became viral. How could a pair that had formerly been supported by palace wealth have fallen into such financial ruin? What network of loans had sustained their American dream? When the story was pieced together using financial trails, anonymous sources, and leaked papers, it showed entanglement rather than empowerment. Now the estate loomed as a golden cage with its expansive grounds and views of the ocean. Purchasing. It was a patchwork of duties and favors. Carrie's ultimatum forced a reckoning. It would undermine their carefully constructed image and revealed the frailty of their independence. This blow seemed devastating, suggesting deeper fissures in McHugh. I would say McHugh seems McHugh-fissures in McHugh-Sids. Like, look at this. And we all know I've been exploring that a corza seed. With McHugh-Sizides, and we would uncool that we would undermine their carefully constructed image. And reveal Sizides at with Q-Siz. We would expude we would see at McHugh Villas side of listing. Side D's. With McHugh-Sizides. We see Suiyu with McHugh, we canav needed kikika say with thickum with sika kamis and we guide to go to you we just a kick I kick you we sing you we just stick you guy we sick go to you we I to kick you cat to get I kick I need for the do you with to get the district I get if you will fake do it the Sussex Foundation in a time when celebrity finances are examined like autopsies. The stage was set for a confrontation that went beyond money and touched on trust, legacy, and the real cost of freedom as responses came in. With supporters denouncing it as a slander and critics praising it as a slander long overdue responsibility. According to reports from publications like the Daily Mail, Perry became increasingly aloof in interviews, curtly dismissing questions about his assistants, claiming there was nothing to prepare them for. Some argue that this hesitation was a cover for simmering anger over unmet obligations. Unverified rumors of a $16 million showdown circulated on social media and YouTube channels, claiming that Perry's demand is the result of a crass interest and disregarded reminders. On the other hand, fans of Sussex countered that this was tabloid hyperbole, citing Perry's status as Leet's godfather as proof of strong ties. However, financial specialists pointed out that the mansion is now prime collateral because its value has increased to over $20 million. The purchase of the house, which was originally owned by Russian billionaire Sergei Gishin, marked Sussex's audacious entry into American luxury real estate and added layers of mystery. According to insiders, the first visit to Perry's Beverly Hills house in 2020 involved more than just hospitality. It served as a link to stability amid transitions and challenges. However, Perry's public outcry marked a shift from ally to enforcer, as friendships deteriorate due to financial hardship. The moment over the airwaves wasn't unique. It was reminiscent of past conflicts, such as Perry's caustic remarks in interviews when any closeness in conversation vanished. Discussions about the aftermath arose on social media. Amidst increased attention, several users have referred to it as the couple's Christmas nightmare. There were rumors that other financiers were keeping a close eye on the statement as it echoed around Hollywood circles. Where partnerships are as ephemeral as box office successes, this was more than simply a debt notice for the Sussexes. Was a public disclosure of a narrative of independence that seemed to be supported more and more by the kindness of others. There had always been more to the Montecito mansion than just physical structure. It was a reimagining manifesto. A $1,465 million stronghold that was purchased in 2020 amid the Brexit frenzy in Sussex. Featuring a tennis court, a rose garden, 9 bedrooms, 16 bathrooms, and expansive views of the Pacific. It was a sanctuary for Archie and Lilith away from Windsor's vigilant gaze, and it shouted arrival. However, the finance conundrum reveals a story of spontaneity over abundance. The pair obtained a $95 million mortgage, according to public records. But insiders claim Tyler Perry was at the center of gaps filled by private infusions. When the Sussex family first fled Canada, Perry offered his mansion in Beverly Hills as a haven, offering not just refuge but also safety in the face of death threats. He then explained in interviews that this action was motivated by compassion for their situation. However, insiders assert that this generosity turned into an unofficial, multi-million-dollar loan to cover the down payment on the mansion due to the urgency of their move. Perry, a self-made billionaire with a net worth of more than $1 billion, saw it as an investment in friendship rather than charity. But as the years went by, the couple's growing costs caused repayments to falter. Perry is becoming increasingly icy, according to recent allegations from publications like the Daily Mail. He abruptly rejected questions about his assistance in a December 2024 interview with the Sunday Times, claiming there was nothing to get. Them ready for, some argue that this hesitation was a cover for simmering anger over unmet obligations. Social media and YouTube channels are ablaze with unsubstantiated rumors of a $16 million showdown, claiming that Perry's demand is the result of disregarded reminders and a crass desire. On the other hand, fans of Sussex contend that this is media hyperbole, citing Perry's status as Liad's godfather as proof of strong ties. However, financial specialists point out that the mansion is now prime collateral because its value has increased to almost $20 million. Once a symbol of freedom, the property now represents irony, a debt-fueled dream that poses a threat to their story of independence. The lavish walls of the estate speak of long-hidden vulnerabilities as Perry's 30-day clock runs out. Reports of disagreements over the estate's maintenance in the face of escalating expenses have angered Montecito's neighbors. Natural calamities and expensive maintenance costs have contributed to the financial weight of the unfortunate mansion in Sussex, as some media have termed it. Their finances have apparently been taxed by hidden charges, such as security costs and yearly property taxes reaching $200,000, although Forbes estimates their net worth at $60 million. Refuting reports of grave problems, Quora conversations and forums speculate on hidden indebtedness. Nevertheless, the loan scandal highlights a change from royal support to dependence on Hollywood favors, with Perry's tantrum heightening the story of overreach. Posts denouncing it as a hoax and calling for openness have piled up from former users. The couple's leveraging technique is demonstrated by the acquisition of the mansion, which was made possible by a $1 million Fendel mortgage. However, concerns about sustainability are growing as interest rates rise. Once praised in Harry's memoir, Spare Perry's role is now tense because sources claim Meghan took advantage of his kindness. There is more to this section of the narrative than just real estate. It concerns the deterioration of trust in a community where reputation is valued highly. Perry's assertion, however, just sheds light on one aspect of a complex financial network. With the Sussex family purportedly using a variety of lenders to obtain their piece of paradise. The $65 million price tag for the 14 Dindo seats required creativity. And rumors from Hollywood's upper echelons point to borrowings from producers, internet giants, and even fair-off royal supporters, according to an anonymous source who spoke to Radar Online, a Silicon Valley tycoon. Gave millions after being enticed by promises of Archewell partnerships that failed due to creative differences. According to reports, another seasoned performer paid escrow fees in exchange for production stakes, but the profits vanished. These were handshake agreements among the wealthy, not sterile bank loans. Based on the post-royal appeal of the Sussex brand, which combined activism and celebrity. However, over-leveraging be camera print. As reported in Forbes studies from mid-2025, credit lines secured by expected windfalls from Netflix and Spotify, and refinanced mortgages at premium rates. In comparison to Montecito's stratosphere, the couple's estimated $60 million net worth, which was augmented by Harry's inheritance from Diana and early agreements, was insufficient. According to tabloid reports like those in Vocal Media, Perry alone owes $16 million. However, detractors of Harper's Bazaar argue that these figures are exaggerated for clicks. On the other hand, Sussex-aligned media, such as People magazine, highlights their independence and points out that there are no state funds after their departure. Even still, there are concerns about the patchwork funding, according to ProPublica documents. An IRS inspection of Archewell suggests that the distinction between personal and charitable assets may be hazy, with the house sometimes referred to as a headquarters for tax benefits. As a catalyst, lenders are becoming more cautious. Will they do the same? Trust quickly erodes in this environment of favors, transforming allies into enemies. Once bridges to stability, the borrowings now act as a noose, getting tighter as probes loom and projects fail. In addition to drawing attention to his complaint, Perry's public outburst encourages others to voice theirs, which could lead to a complete disclosure of Sussex's financial predicament. According to New Idea, staff reductions at Archewell indicate more serious issues with the pair cutting positions to ease financial burden despite their art code. Elev their Carewells are at. Look at this. And we all know. Look at this. And we all know I've been exploring that prof. And we love, according to New Idea. Staff reductions at Words T staff. Again with KTs with cells/Mullins. We love Celestays with cells last of else, be when I wis. If you love, cordon ki guess. I will see if we were at we read with a key so case to we I kakakaida to we so we lie to get to kukuyu to kuku we can to stick here with you to ki we can get to you work hike can was effect to you with opulent lifestyles. Experts warn of a time bomb as agreements dry up, and eye-watering expenditures, including security and maintenance, have been exposed. This is exacerbated by X conversations where users conjecture that hidden loans could lead to future transactions. Cora's balanced opinions refute alarming assertions by pointing to their richness. However, there are still persistent rumors. About $11 million in unreported commitments. Perry is just one part of the web. Prince Harry's $12 million settlement is reportedly improving cash flow, but costs are still high. This patchwork of loans exposes vulnerability in Hollywood, where fortunes change. The unraveling accelerated when businesses failed, with Perry's desire serving as the catalyst. Every setback is like a domino toppling the next in a chain reaction of unfulfilled hopes. Markle promised a media philanthropy hybrid when it first began in 2020. But it turned into a red tape maze. According to tax documents discovered by the Daily Mail, donations fell to $2 in 2024 while spending skyrocketed to $5 million. $1 million, a sharp change from previous years. According to sources, this is caused by extravagant expenditures, private jets, high-profile events, and paying for a staff that changes frequently. According to NBC News, the IRS investigation, which was closed due to a 2024 delinquency but is still ongoing in audits, examines possible misalocations with whistleblowers, claiming commingled cash. After Archetypes failed, Spotify's $20 million contract collapsed. In a 2023 podcast, Bill Simmons called them grifters due to their poor ratings and executive conflicts. The $100 million deal with Netflix produced conflicting outcomes. 81 people watched the Harry and Meghan documentary series. 6 million hours were first viewed, but follow-ups like With Love, Meghan plummeted, with just 3.5 million views in the first half of 2025. Placing it below the top 300, according to Telegraph reports. Despite Markle's October 2025 insistence on continuance, via Page 6, the failure of Season 2 raised concerns about renewal. Good Morning America's Balanced Opinions point out that new projects will have extensions in August 2025. However, Forbes ranks the overall performance as lackluster, with 25 million hours spent on important titles. Perry's purported loan was one of the financial streams that these misses starved in order to pay off debt. In the midst of economic difficulties, Hollywood elites use the Business Insider website to discuss audience disconnection and shallow content. According to Reddit debates, Invictus Games overspends. The failures accumulate, and Archwell's political involvement jeopardizes tax exemption status. Repayments stall in the absence of these lifelines, turning ambition into obligation. The irony of a couple who exchanged contracts for crowns only to see both disappear is heightened by Perry's demand, which comes amid this drought. According to the CEO of Spotify, the partnership didn't work because customers weren't satisfied. Netflix executives felt undercut by the costly failure of the $75 million agreement. Exposed to Cry is deemed embarrassing by users who point to numerous failures. The Sussexes blame misfortune, but detractors see too much ambition. Debts remain uncontrolled as businesses like American Riviera Orchard suffer. The regulatory spotlight is making the crisis worse by turning private investigations into public hearings that impede liquidity. Despite being corrected, according to a May 2024 statement to NBC News, Archwell's 2024 delinquency notice led to further extensive IRS investigations, with ProPublica filings revealing $800,000 in unpaid expenses, while YouTube channels sensationalize theft charges from exact accountants that are unsupported. Sources at GOTV reported concerns of huge numbers manipulation. They encourage scrutiny. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the Foundation's decision to switch to Archwell Philanthropies in December 2025 entails financial sponsorship in order to streamline operations. However, officials acknowledge that there will inevitably be layoffs amid $9 million losses, according to Newsweek. Auditors look at deductions that blur the lines between home and hub, such as mansion-related costs that are presented as operational. Interviews with former employees that were leaked to Radar Online reveal disarray, hurried spending, disregard for the council, and a preference for public relations above charity. This is not harmless. Loan repayments that represent balance are hampered by asset freezes and record demands. Mirror statements from Sussex. Co-UK maintains IRS compliance while framing it as development. However, detractors like those on Reddit's Chayusta Meghan Markle condemn it as a slush fund and call for further investigation. Perry's ultimatum is made worse by its timing. Settlement possibilities decrease when funds are locked. Here, audits. Break down myths about celebrity finance and expose overreach. In the midst of this, Perry's call-out runs the risk of entangling his claim in more general discoveries and using a personal obligation as a means of exposure. Liabilities exceeded £600,000 per GEO by the end of 2024, with 75% internal costs. TVX consumers call for IRS action, calling it unethical. In light of the Trump administration's subsidy investigations, some view the rebranding to philanthropies, which coincides with the 5-year anniversary, as evasion. According to insiders, the change permits claiming other people's labor by paying them according to exchanges. Calls for a criminal inquiry are fueled by possible abuse in phony royal excursions. Despite official declarations of compliance, the glare continues, impeding advancement. Fiscal isolation is now made worse by the royal schism, which has been a festering wound since 2020, cutting off any hidden safety nets. According to ABC News reports on Charles's fundraising session, the Duchy of Cornwall's millions disappeared after Brexit. Benefits and security vanished, leaving the Sussexes to pay for themselves. However, the company was demonized as being obstructive by their torrent of spare memoirs. Oprah interviews and Netflix exposes. According to Expressco UK, potential covert assistance was alienated by this. According to Daily Mail sources, Charles prioritizes monarchy over bailouts despite his health problems. William's position is consistent with Newsweek's emphasis on stability. Quara's balanced viewpoints emphasize private financing permissions, while Sussex's actions cemented divisions. Archwell's problems highlighted his self-inflicted exile, and no reconciliations occurred in 2025. Debts like Perry's loom larger in the absence of royal buffers. It's ironic that those who run away from dependencies wind up acquiring other ones. After being slandered, the rift cost them nothing and left them vulnerable. Note that the royal family continues to keep an eye on their behavior. Undermining the family and manipulating the press have not gone ignored. The loneliness stings when money is tight. The shadow of litigation shrouds every aspect of this once private dispute, turning it from a whisper among elites into a full-fledged public spectacle that could overshadow even the Brexit frenzy. With no bailout in sight and the 30-day deadline looming like a gathering storm over the sun-kissed hills of Montecito, according to rumors circulating on social media, Tyler Perry's legal team has assembled an ironclad dossier. Promissory notes, bank transfer records, and email chains that purportedly detail the terms of the multi-million-dollar loans complete, with accrued interest pushing the total towards that disputed $16 million figure. However, detractors in publications like Forbes cast doubt on the amount, speculating that it may have been exaggerated by tabloid frenzy or falsely reported as being closer to $7 million due to prior anonymous leaks. According to legal experts quoted in the Express and NPR assessments of comparable high-profile cases, this goes to court as Perry's radio ultimatum warns. The Sussexes' finances would be exposed under the intense scrutiny of discovery procedures, exposure of tax returns, asset inventories, and transaction breakdowns to public scrutiny may show a maze of further borrowings from tech moguls and Hollywood elites. Another layer of danger is the current Archwell investigations. IRS investigations into the foundation's alleged losses of £1.9 million and its reorganization to RKL Philanthropies, as revealed in Newsweek and The Hollywood Reporter, may entwine with Sabanaz and seizing assets and make any defense more difficult. There is a lot of speculation about the results. Perry's motivation, according to insiders close to Sky News Australia, is pure accountability. This could be a covert settlement to maintain face, possibly financed by selling jewelry or Harry's recent $12 million payout from his tabloid lawsuits against Nescrupt newspapers as reported by Markle, or a drawn-out battle that brings in witnesses revealing the full extent of their patchwork debts and failed adventures. like Netflix dolls with precarious renewal amid financial blows. Despite his godfather links, he is a self-made mogul setting limits in a society where favors all too frequently go unpaid. Not a personal grudge. The dead quiet from Sussex only feeds the media hysteria, with royal observers on Facebook and Quora speculating that it is a cover for asset hunts or frenzied talks. Their dominion might be completely demystified by a court battle, demonstrating that obligations like royal scandals cannot be postponed indefinitely, with hashtags like his Sussex debt drama trending amid requests for openness, excuses and threads that have been humming since early December predict that 2026 will be a strong year for revelations. Their sanctuary could become a victim of unbridled desire if they are forced to sell their $20 million appreciating asset, according to recent Forbes estimates, due to the looming threat of fleas on the property. There is a tangible silence before this commotion, a tense interlude in which Perry's airwave bombshell rekindles long-standing tensions, strained friendships, broken agreements, and an illusory story of independence. Once a shining representation of ambition and freedom from palace regulations, the Montecito home now represents excess. $65 million is evidence of borrowed glory. According to LA Magazine and news reports, its rose gardens and vistas of the ocean conceal growing maintenance expenses that surpass $200,000 a year in taxes alone. The story shifts from sparkling intrigue to stark exhortation, a cautionary tale of Hollywood ambitions clashing with financial realities. As anonymous leaks continue to surface through sources like Radar Online and Daily Mail, exposing worker redundancies at Arkewell amid inevitable cuts to stem losses. Will they sell off assets in a town where reputations break like glass? Maybe Harry's Diana inheritance or Meghan suits are residuals to prevent catastrophe or litigation, risking more exposure. King Charles and Prince William are said to be putting institutional stability ahead of bailouts as the royals watch from far-off Windsor. Fox News documents the year's shocking events, such as title stripping and unfulfilled reconciliations. With producers interested in documentaries on the fallout, Hollywood, ever the avaricious vulture, circles around. William is reportedly preparing backup plans in case the marriage breaks down due to stress, while divorce rumors in media like the news increase personal risk. This crucible puts the Sussexes' legacy to the test in addition to their solvency. The narrative of empowerment they promoted contrasted with the disintegrating reality of entanglement. Like hidden reality, debt always wants to be paid off, clinging relentlessly to the surface. The world waits for the next part in this developing drama. Quiet is broken by reckonings that reverberate across oceans and headlines rather than whispers. As Perry's clock runs out, please